Let's get started then. Thank you all for joining in today. Today is our episode number 56, and this is free Intune training provided by How to Manage Devices community. And if you have any questions related to device management, please try to reach out and ask questions in our forum, htmdforum.com. htmdforum.com. Okay, so let's get started. On Friday, what we have seen is we try to log in with um, Helpdesk user and try to access Intune portal, right? So we were struggling, or I was struggling to provide get access to the Intune portal for that help desk user, right? And after providing a particular access from here, this is Azure Active Directory, right? And I added an assignment, and that is Intune, some Intune administrator. So this should not have happened, right? We should not have added this, okay? Because this provides full Intune admin access to that particular user, okay? But what we found is after providing that particular role to the user, okay, we were able to access the Intune portal without any issue. That user, right? This is helpdesk at the rate how to manage devices dot on microsoft.com user. Okay, so now the user has access, but what I did is basically I removed this access, okay, which I provided on Friday. I removed access and logged off and login back, okay, onto this user. Okay, I can do it again if you want, right? But I did that, and if you look at the roles over here in Intune, right? mm, Intune portal, you can see help desk, and if I click on that, you would be able to see it has access to all devices, all personal devices, all India users. Okay, and the permission is help desk user. Okay, so let's go and check the experience of that. So if I go to Windows devices, I was expecting to see only the personal devices, okay, but it shows corporate device as well. Okay, that is um, bit problematic at the moment, because I don't think there is a scope tagging available for devices at the moment. I think Microsoft changed the design of it. Okay, earlier if you go to the properties, there was a scope tag option over here, right? I think I have some blogs about that also in previously. Okay, but now they removed that particular option. If I'm not wrong, right? I don't see any scope tag option. That is why they introduced something new in the RBAC roles, right? So let me go to the this is help desk user, right? Let me go to the full admin, and this is a full admin, and let me go to the devices, and this is full admin. Okay, as you can see over here, let me go to one of the devices, corporate device properties, mm, and the scope tag option is not there, right? So when I say scope tag, don't get confused. Like if you go to configuration profiles, you can see something over there, right? Chrome. Okay, Chrome. If I go to Chrome, our famous Chrome. Okay, so every deployment there is something called scope tags which we skipped, right? You remember, for all the deployments we did in last, I don't know, few weeks, okay, we skipped the scope tag. This scope tag option was available for devices also, but it was manual assignment. Okay, it was not automated. Unlike SCCM or SCCM, it is basically collection, right? So what Intune did is, Intune, probably Microsoft product team did is, basically they removed that scope tag option from devices and added something called, if I go to tenant administration and roles, right? Roles, if I click on roles and if I come here, you can see something called, give me a sec. If I go to assignments, you can see something called scope groups, right? They added users and devices into scope groups. Okay, so ideally, now when you edit, ideally we would assume that if you know about the scope tag from a previous Intune experience, right? We will assume that, okay, scope tag means if you assign a scope tag, the only personal devices will get displayed. But that is not true, and it is explained over here also, right? If I edit and come over here, it says administrators in this role assignment can target policies, application, and remote tasks to these particular users or devices. Okay, so but it didn't say it will hide that particular device from the console itself, right? So that is why I assume, right, we can see, even though we only included in the scope group the personal devices, we can see corporate devices also over here, right? And the interesting other thing is, okay, if I go to configuration profiles over here, and if I go to Chrome, and if I go to properties, and then if I try to add assignment, right, it says target applications, right, is restricted. It can only deploy to applications and policies to particular group of users, right? For example, I can only deploy to all India users. Okay, that is my part of my scope group, if you remember. So this is helpdesk user, not the admin one. Okay, so I'm trying to add all devices, right? All devices group into this particular assignment. Okay, so what we will see, what would be the experience. So I'm going to say all Intune devices. Okay, all Intune devices. This is not in our scope group for this help desk user. So ideally, it should give me an error. Okay, so I added all Intune devices over here and selected it and clicked on review plus save. And until this time, there's no error, right? It shows everything is okay. Now, if I click on save, it says fail to save profile, try again later. Fail to save Chrome show button. Okay, it failed, right? You don't have enough permission to update this configuration to one or more of your selected groups. Okay, that makes sense, right? So we can either cancel it. Okay, so let me try to add one of the group which is available in my scope group, that is all India users. Okay, if I can go back to admin portal over here, this is admin. Okay, this is admin user. Okay, and I just wanted to show you the scope user, right? This is scope groups, right? Scope groups, I have only two groups available for me, that is all India users and all personal devices. Okay, so let me add all India users. It should work ideally. So let me, I am adding all India users now, and click on select, save. Now let me try to save. Oh, it says again fail to save, and it says you don't have enough permission to update this configuration to one or more groups. Okay, basically it says probably it is assigned to all India users, right? That is why. Okay, sorry, not that one. Company owned devices, right? That is not in my scope. Probably that is why it is not allowing me to edit, right? So let me do one thing, right? Let me come over here to the portal, the admin one, okay, admin one, and add which what was that group? Which was that group? Okay, company owned devices. Okay, I'm going to add company owned devices also into my scope group of that help desk user. Company owned devices. Okay, so company owned devices, I'm going to select yes, review, save. This is admin user. Okay, don't get confused. So I have three groups now. Okay, now if I go back, ideally it should allow. Now let's cancel it and edit and select, and then if I go and select all India users, right? Select, save. Now all these three are part of my scope group. This is again help desk user. Okay, and if I go back to admin user over here, all these three groups are there in my profile, both the scenarios, right? So I don't know how much time it is going to take to reflect, or do I need to log off and log in back or not. But anyways, I'm going to try this. Now it's again says same thing, right? It again says the same thing. So let me try to refresh, right?
Anup sir,
And
what if the same device is in multiple groups?
say that again.
What if the same device is listed in the multiple groups? Like the same device is in all India users or all Intune devices. So how would this role recognize?
Yeah, I have no clue about that, to be honest, because that is not well documented, right? It is add or kind of uh, basically you mean to say, like, for example, if you have all devices group, okay, and if you have all India devices group, right? So in this scenario you want to uh, have access only to in all India devices group, not to all devices. Is that your scenario?
Yeah, right. Like, but the same device is in multiple groups.
Yeah, it is in multiple groups, right? In this scenario also, right? Because all devices will have India devices also, right? So I think it is based on the groups, right? It doesn't check the each individual devices, right? So that is what my understanding is. So that is why they removed that devices scope. There was a device scope tag before, as I mentioned, but at the moment it is not there. So I'm assuming that it is based on purely based on the group, right? So it is not going into the levels of devices or something, I feel. From a I didn't understand the question exactly. So you mean to say from a permission perspective, or from some other
Okay.
perspective?
Okay. If the same, um, if the machine name is same, like if there is a machine name ABC and if it is there in all the groups,
Mhm.
so probably if you have to restrict some group, it would not be secured, right? Because the role is deployed to. I mean, the machine is there in multiple groups. So in that case, we cannot restrict, right? If it is in multiple group.
Um, you
If the
want to
machine is
restrict the
using
device, right?
right, but
Or
Yeah, but that device is in multiple group. So
Mhm.
can we do that restriction?
I don't think so. If it's in multiple groups, and multiple those groups are associated with different scope groups, right? Scope groups
Right,
for a
right.
different
Yes.
admins. Then I don't think that would be restricted. So all the admins, right? All the admins with that group assigned would be able to access those devices. That is what my
Okay, but it's
understanding is.
not secured, right? In that case, it's not
Yeah,
secured.
yeah. Intune. So yeah, I forgot to mention this before. So this is still under development. So in my opinion, right? Um, it is probably 70 percentage production ready if you have kind of a large environment, right, with for example 100K devices, right? Probably for that kind of a RBAC, and if you are comparing it with SCCM RBAC, then yeah, Intune RBAC is probably 70-80 percentage production ready. So there are a lot of development going on, and there are a lot of dependency on Azure Active Directory over here, and I think our Azure Active Directory team is more concentrating on the core technologies like conditional access and all the other thing, right? So probably that is why my Intune team changed the device scope tag options and all. So they are trying to work around, it seems, right? So I'm not
Right.
sure
You had
what.
told us.
Say that
Yeah, you
again.
had told us in last class. You had told us in last class. I mean, last session, not to compare with SCCM and Intune
Yeah, this is
because
no, yeah.
right.
This is not 100 percentage production ready, to be honest, actually. Okay, because there are a lot of work going on actually. If you can, I don't know, I have already opened it or not using, but this is not this one. Yeah, this is the latest blog post from Intune team, right? She is program manager in Intune, Pallavi, and if you can see over here, to, 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 to see over here sometime here. Okay, so it says thanks for the feedback, and we are actively we keep working on the feature improvement to enable many scenarios, right, which customers are looking for. Okay, so this is active development. There are a lot of active development going on for this particular area, right? RBAC scenarios. So yeah, there could be a lot of scenarios which will create issues for security and other admins, right? Your scenario is one of them, think. All right, does that make sense? Or I don't have entire end-to-end kind of details like how this is going to work in a multiple device scenarios as you explained, because I never did that kind of a testing personally. Okay, sorry
Hi,
about that.
No problem. Thanks.
hi, Anup.
No problem.
Hi, Anup.
Yeah.
Mayur here. Yeah, so we have tested. Just want to give you a bit more information on this topic.
Hmm. Hmm.
We have tested this one. So we got a client where they got a single tenant and they got a different departments, and their each department have got like a 10,000 users. So they've delegated kind of access to their each department basically, and the scope tech works fine. So I think what I wanted to just check on your tenant, if you go back to your roles
Hmm.
and if you go into the scope, what you need to do maybe, uh, all your groups you need to assign to your scope tag also. So if you go on your Intune roles
Okay. Tune roles. Yep.
and go to the scope tag where you created.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to create the scope tag help desk, say for example, and you assign all the devices that that department is going to manage. So say for example, help desk is a department,
Mm-hmm.
and then you create the scope tag as a help desk, and then all the devices part of that department. So you will have a group called say help desk devices. So all those devices you need to assign to that scope tag, and all the users also most probably. So you may have because it's a department, you will have your user for that department group, and then you assign both the ones. And then I think if you log off, sorry, not you don't need to log off, but then any group which will have say for example you got a 3 4 devices in Intune 1 and Intune 1 2 3 4, put maybe 1 or 2 devices into that help desk devices group, and then when help desk log in, they will only see Intune 1 and Intune 3. They won't see any other devices.
So it's okay. You mean to say I need to create a help desk? So I was about to create a help scope tag later in the training, because
Ah, right,
I,
okay,
I I didn't
sorry.
I didn't reach there. Okay, so that is why I
Sorry.
was no, it's
No,
good
no,
point
that's
actually.
okay.
No, but it is a good point actually, right? So let's go into that first then, right? Scope tag. I'm going to create a scope tag for help desk. Okay, thank you, Mayur. So let me assign. So Mayur is saying probably if you can use the same groups over here, right? Which I used for the scope group, right? In the scope group, I used some groups, all India users and all personal devices, right? I used both in the scope group, right? And I'm going to assign this as a scope tag now, right? So now if I go over here, does the is that what you mean, Mayur? I'm sorry. I think
Yeah,
your name is
yeah,
Mayur, right? Sorry.
yeah. So that will now. So if you got say for example Intune 1 and Intune 3, I think in
Mm-hmm.
HTMD all personal devices, then only those devices help desk will be. So whoever has been assigned that role, when you assign the role also you will have to assign that scope tag.
Okay. So let me refresh and see. Does that make difference? Log off, right? Log off, and let me close this, and let me open a private window again. Portal, no, endpoint.microsoft.com, and if I can copy my user, helpdesk user, and um, give me a sec. Password I forgot. Okay, so now if I go to devices, right, and if I go to devices, I still can see all corporate devices also. Maybe I added um, the role. Give me a sec. Let me go back to admin, right? So let me go back to roles, right? So what I was trying to do is I was trying to assign that Chrome thing, right? So that is why I added all corporate devices also into this assignment. So probably that might create an issue, right? All company devices also here. Now let's remove that and test it again. So now we have same groups in both include scope groups as well as in scope tags, right? If I go to scope tags, I have same group. Okay, now let me log off, or let me try to refresh. I don't know, just this user. Okay, this is helpdesk user. Sign out. Close and then launch it again. Endpoint microsoft.com. Paste. If I remember the password correctly. Okay, so hopefully. Okay, so I still can see corporate devices. So that is interesting, right? Now what I'm going to do is going back to the previous example, right? So this is admin user. Now I'm going to devices and Windows and configuration profiles in Chrome. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all company owned devices from here, right? And check whether that is helping us to assign a new group from a help desk user or not, right? So I did that. Now we have only all devices in this. Now let's go back to our help desk user and say Windows configuration profiles. Where is it? Configuration profiles. Chrome. Okay, Chrome. We have seen Chrome properties, and if I edit and if I select all India users, that is there, right? All India users. Now scope group, it is same, and the scopes are also same. Scope tags also same group, right? So let's click on review and save. Again it says no, probably I don't have permission. Okay, that's fine. Then it's okay. Now what I'm going to do is another example I'm going to show today is I'm going to add a scope tag over here, right? So probably that is something. I'm creating a new scope tag. Okay, that is admin, or let's use something useful, right? Let's say Bristol, or right. There's nothing called Bristol, so okay, I need to create one from here. Go to tenant administration and roles, right? And scope tag, and let me create one here that is called Bristol. Bristol, okay, and Bristol admins, right? Okay. So next, if I assign scope tag to all devices in the selected security group. Okay. So all devices, it is assigned to all devices now. It is going to get assigned to all devices. That is probably company owned devices. Okay. So company owned devices, I'm going to assign that. And now company owned devices have a scope tag, and that is Bristol, right? Now, if I go back to devices and Windows, filter with Windows and configuration profiles, then if I go back to Chrome again and properties, edit scope tag and add, probably remove this one, right? If I am able to know, that is not possible. Okay, from here I can remove it. Bristol, I add Bristol, right? So if I click save, right, now this particular policy is available only for Bristol admins. Okay, now let's go back to our helpdesk user. Helpdesk user has a different scope. That is, I don't remember now. That is a helpdesk scope. Okay, that is not Bristol scope. Now, ideally, if I go back to here, right, this should not come up. It should not show. Should not show the Chrome profile, but it is still kind of showing, right? I don't understand why is that. Let me log off and log in back. So I think something is missing. I'm missing something, or I don't know. Endpoint manager endpoint. Okay, login. Yes. So ideally that should not happen, right? That the device, if my understanding is correct, I could be wrong, right? Okay, configuration profiles. If I go to configuration profile, it should not show the Bristol application, right? Bristol application, Bristol policies, Bristol scope tag policies to help the scope tag users, okay, or admins. So, but it is still showing. So, I feel something is wrong in our configuration, or we are missing something.
Uh,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think, sorry, Mayur again here,
Yeah.
Anup. So I think if you want to get the scope tag working, I think you will have to create a custom role. So what you will have to do, I think, create a custom role with your help desk. So copy of the same permission, and then assign that custom role to only that help desk scope tag.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And then in the scope tag you got all your, so you will have to obviously create those separate groups like I mentioned earlier, with the devices and the users, and assign those users and devices also to the same scope tag. So everything, then you apply all the policies, say for example Chrome to Bristol, then only the Bristol scope tag custom role permission with the help desk user in that scope tag will only see the Bristol permission.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure. We can try that out. So I don't know the reason. Thank you, Mayor, for that. I don't know the reason why the out of box roles are not working in that scenario, right? Um, do you know the reason?
If you look at the help desk role, the out of the box,
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah. So check the scope tag on that one. So if you scroll down, there is a scope tag. So if I
Oh,
don't think you can edit any of the scope tag for the inbuilt out
yeah,
of the box role. So
yeah,
you'll have to
correct.
create one, and then you assign the scope tag to that role.
Oh, interesting. I was not aware of that. Oh. Okay, thank you very much for that. So let's try the scenario tomorrow, right? And we are already 4 minutes late now. So let's try this tomorrow, and we will try it out live, right? Tomorrow, same time, same place. Okay, is that okay? Okay, so in that scenario, in that, so let's close this for today, and we will resume from here tomorrow. Okay, same time, same place. So thank you all for joining in today. Do you have any other questions before closing it? Okay, I hope not. Okay, thank you all for joining in today, and we will see tomorrow, same time, same place. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.